Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Meehan, and in this lesson we will explore the definition of life. So as a really quick do now, I want you to complete the following activity. A prompt will show up in a moment with a link to the activity. What you will do is first interact with the graphic organizer to the right. You will have to sort this list into the correct box. If you don't get it right the first time, try again. Once you do that, complete the challenge questions. There are 5 questions that you can try again until you get them all correct if needed. Okay, let's hope that you got those questions correct. The objectives for this lesson includes defining biology, discussing the characteristics of living things, and making a case for whether something is considered alive or not. So what exactly is biology? Biology is the Greek word for study of life, with bios meaning life and ology meaning study of. But what exactly makes something living? Let's brainstorm really quick. In the prompt, list the characteristics that define if something is living or not. Now let's compare your list to the current definition of life. This definition states that all living things are made of one or more cells, reproduce, grow and develop, use energy, termed a metabolism, respond to the environment, maintain a stable internal environment, called homeostasis, as a group, change or evolve over time, and they are based on a universal genetic code in the form of the molecule DNA. In middle school, you most likely learned about the cell, which is living matter enclosed by a barrier known as the cell membrane. Cells in and of themselves are living because a living thing can be composed of one or more cells. For example, this bacterium is a single-celled organism. Here's a close-up of a tissue of onion under a microscope. This is also part of a multicellular organism. Living things reproduce. This means that they make a new organism. This can be done either asexually, so only one parent is needed, the organism itself, or sexually, 2 parents will be needed. Living things grow and develop. All organisms have a distinctive life cycle. All living things obtain and use energy. You need this energy to grow, develop, and reproduce. Energy is used in your metabolism. Your metabolism is the sum of all the chemical reactions happening in your body right now. These chemical reactions can either break down substances to release energy for you to use, or it will build substances to store energy in for later, or for other purposes in your body. Living things respond to their environment. Organisms must respond to things like temperature, change, amount of light, the food source, weather, and various other reasons. Living things self-regulate to maintain a stable internal environment, termed homeostasis. A great example is how your body stays around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, even in the winter and hot summer. If you start to get too cold, your body will start to shiver to help warm you back up. When you're too hot, you start to sweat to cool yourself down. This is a great example of homeostasis. Living things as a group change over time. When I say as a group, that just means one individual doesn't suddenly change or evolve. It is a very slow change over a very long amount of time. An example is that ancient dragonflies used to have a wingspan of 2 to 3 feet. However, this made them easier prey. Over time, it was more advantageous for the smaller dragonflies. Therefore, smaller dragonflies were more likely to survive and reproduce more of their size, and the larger species died out. All living things are based on a universal genetic code. These organisms are based on DNA, which is a molecule that codes for traits and can be inherited. The DNA in all organisms is the same. Quick! In class, students were called on to recall a characteristic of life. What you are going to do is enter into the prompt your best recollection of the characteristics of life that I just went over. Okay, so hopefully you were able to list all 8 characteristics. Remember, all living things are made of one or more cells. They can reproduce. They grow and develop. They obtain and use energy. They respond to the environment. They maintain a stable internal environment called homeostasis. They evolve over time. And they are based on a universal genetic code stored in the molecule DNA. Now let's try an activity. First, I'm going to tell you a story called The Martian and the Car. Marty the Martian was sent to Earth by the Martian government to find life. While on Earth, Marty captured a car and brought it back to Mars. He thought he'd found a good example of life on Earth. The Martian government does not believe that the car Marty brought back is alive. Marty must now stand trial for failing to perform his Martian duties. In class, groups were assigned either prosecution or defense. For those of you completing this assignment through Edpuzzle, you may choose. If you choose the prosecution, the Martian government has hired your services through the law firm of Darwin, Franklin, and Hook to present the case against Marty's claim that the car is alive. This means you are arguing that the car is a non-living thing. If you choose the defense, you have been hired by Marty through the law firm of Bioenology to present a case that supports Marty's claim that the car is alive. This means you are arguing that the car is indeed a living thing. These were the group roles shared in class in case you are curious. You will be completing this assignment independently. Let's take a look. When you click on the link that will show up, you will be prompted to make a copy of the document. Please do so. Then it will be your own, and you can save it, edit it, and submit it on Google Classroom. The document itself shares a little more information. I just read this first paragraph, but notice, as you read more, you are provided with more information that Marty provides in his defense. Once you choose prosecution or defense, state so for number 1. Make sure you list characteristics of life to support your argument. Try to use as many as you can. Then explain in 100 to 200 words for why Marty's car is either alive or not alive, depending on which side you chose, prosecution or defense. Once you complete this document, turn it in to the assignment posted on Google Classroom.